when I founded Hello Sister, the reason I did so was I was really, I guess, concerned by the sort of quality of a lot of advertising and the ways that a lot of businesses and brands within the region were engaging with women and trying to engage with women. And I recognised there's no real players sort of in the market who are really very female focused. And I've always been interested in sort of championing women's rights, especially in some of the more developing markets. So that's the whole reason I really sort of founded Hello Sister. I'm sure everybody will be aware of some of the sort of key facts around the female economy that has sort of emerged in the last couple of years. But currently, the female economy is worth about 28 trillion US dollars, which is larger than China and India combined, which effectively means we are controlling 1/3 of the global economy. Now, the next set of figures are much debated, but in Asia, the data we have shows that women actually control around 90% of all household decisions. I always get asked, yes, there are a few categories like technology and automotive where women don't make all the decisions in the household, but my standard line is how many men can really buy a car without consulting their wife in some shape or form. Not many men would get away with that. So the reality is women do make a significant number of the household decisions in any household. Along with sort of economic development in the markets, we're also seeing that women are feeling far more financial independence than they were even 10 years ago. So the markets are changing and women are feeling more confident. They're feeling like they have greater control over their own finances, be it sort of pocket money, be it household spend, or be it sort of future financial investments. And women are becoming far more educated. In 2016, over 72% of all female graduates were female. So we're getting smarter, we're getting wealthier, and we are controlling more of the money than ever before. So it makes sense that we do focus on things that are really relevant to women. Yet, if you go to any 7-Eleven in any one of the Asian markets, you'll see a significant number of products that have got Hello Kitty on them. And yes, of course, there are a few pockets of women that are motivated by this lovely Sanrio character, but significant number of women aren't really focused on things that are pink, don't always want florals on all their packaging, aren't obsessed with beauty, and don't think that their kids are the centre of their lives. So that's really kind of why I started Hello Sister, to try and help brands, I guess, really get under the skins of what women are really looking for. And 2 years ago, I decided to do my own fieldwork to really support my theories that businesses and brands weren't understanding women effectively. So 84% of women across Southeast Asia feel that brands don't understand them as a women. So if we as insight analysts, researchers, be it quant, be it qual, be it trends, whatever we're talking about within the sector, somehow we're missing a connection in terms of really conveying to clients that I guess the human insights that are really connecting for women. So if 84% of women feel brands don't understand them, 76% don't believe or trust a lot of the advertising that they're seeing, and 75% would switch brands if they felt a brand didn't treat or show women fairly. We've got a few problems in the market. And even more concerning from a sort of women's perspective is that 68% feel that there's a women's brand that makes them feel bad about themselves. So I won't name specific names, but a lot of the beauty care brands really make women sort of feel quite worthless, second guessing sort of their motivations, making them feel like they have to wear makeup all the time, that they have to put their best presence forward. And these women are under a lot of pressure as it is and don't really want brands that don't support them in terms of their progression. I really feel as an industry, we need to better understand, engage and ignite women, ignite our own sort of interest in women to really be smarter in terms of connecting wholeheartedly across women's entire lives in order to be, I guess, giving smarter recommendations to clients. One of the examples I've heard this a number of times, but this is sort of a direct quote from a respondent, that just because I'm a mother doesn't mean motherhood is everything I think of all the hours of the day. 70% of women feel that brands talk to them only about one thing and ignore the rest of their lives. So I'm not saying that kids aren't important in mothers' lives, but women are far more multidimensional than we would ever suspect. And so many brands are only talking to them through that sort of one lens, one dimension, and therefore missing out an awful lot of understanding around other areas of their lives that really influence a lot of the decision making that takes place. So where can we help them? So I think women are so multidimensional that, you know, just doing some qual or just doing some straightforward quant is never going to be able to unlock those sort of compelling insights or views or perspectives that actually is going to make a difference to creating communication campaigns, creating products, or creating solutions that are really going to resonate with women. So I've been experimenting a lot more with far more informal FGDs. So instead of kind of your traditional sort of 6 or 8 respondents around a table, how can you make it more informal so that you can even be closer to the women that you're speaking to? Obviously, doing in-home IDIs, you get to see a lot more of their life, exploring diaries far more, looking at their social media to see what they're really influenced by, sort of who are they actually engaging with, who are they following, or who are they chatting to versus kind of who's just noise out there for them. Obviously things like shop alongs, seeing how they are actually making decisions as they're shopping, both online and offline. Pre-test I know is nothing sort of breakthrough, but always ensuring something of that nature is accompanying the rest of any qual has always really helped me get under the skin of these women. And also using communities a lot more. So not necessarily sort of formal qual communities, but really understanding the networks and communities that these women are tapping into and understanding their opinions and perspectives as well as the individual respondents. Women aren't one-dimensional, so we have to have multi-dimensional approaches to kind of get under their skins. And there's a quote here that was what a respondent said to me in some financial work that I did here in Singapore, that she said, you know, I run a $5 million business, but they're talking to me about being smart savings as a mother. So it was a bank talking to women around creating savings products that were I guess, kid-focused. And you know, the way that they were speaking to the women was really just condescending in effect, and she really pushed back on it and kind of called out the comms around that. Converse to the male gender, women do really sort of feel that they are different, and significant majority of women we speak to today do consider themselves somewhat of an influencer. Doesn't mean to say that they are full-blown sort of Instagram influencers, but many of them do feel they're quite influential within their social group. And they do blog about their brands, they talk about their brands, they promote brands that they like. So in effect, they are being the mavens within our audiences. And we need to understand that, you know, how they engage with those brands has a big impact on many more people than we would normally consider. So typically women are posting, 52% of them are posting content 2 to 3 times a week around brands, and 73% of them rely on blogs and influencers for trusted information. So they're trusting other influencers far more than they are trusting traditional advertising than ever before. This is kind of a big challenge for brands and businesses that, you know, all the advertising we're seeing put out there, they are trusting these influencers and social media touch points far more than they are any of the paid advertising that is out there. So we also need to be really tapping into those resources to understand them from an insight perspective as well. So, you know, how can we tap into those opinion formers? Who are the women within those networks who are very influential? Who are the influencers specifically that they're following and that they feel are credible and are trusted? How can we tap into sort of more insight forums and closed networks that we traditionally can't sort of explore so well? How can we involve them in co-creation? And how can we use them as researchers themselves? You know, get them to go out and find and interview their friends and family and their ladies in their lives to give us opinions and perspectives. And this again is another interesting area where women on average in the region say that they have 24 close friends. That's not their social network. That is 24 close friends who they kind of call their sisters, that they share almost every moment of their lives with. On average, they've got over 400 broader social media contacts. Compared to men, this is significant. They're sort of 2 to 3 times larger than your average man in the region as well. So what really are women looking for specifically? Well, they're twice as likely to complain about service than men, partly because we are the people who are running a household. So we're far more likely to be the person that's sort of speaking to call centre about getting aircon servicing, getting TV sorted, getting phone networks, things like that. Yet we're also far more frustrated. So how can the sort of customer service side of brands really, I guess, help women be less frustrated and get things right straight away? Women are also significantly more likely to buy products that deliver a purpose which fits with their values. 85% of them would buy a product specifically if it met their values. So purpose is obviously a current topic that many people are focused on, but actually it's clear that it needs to be very authentic. There's a lot of pink washing out there. Obviously International Women's Day was last week, beginning of March, and so many brands come out and say they're supporting women, yet they're not necessarily the brands that are doing it 365 days a year. And women are very savvy to that. You can't be talking about championing women's rights when you're not paying them well enough, you're not clearly engaging them, or you're trying to tell them that they need to be wearing makeup constantly, or doing this to attract their husband. So it needs to be authentic, authentically delivered if purpose is going to be genuine. Women are more sensory and visually led than men when decision making. So this really poses a big challenge for sort of omni-channel retailers. So yes, we are shopping online, but also we are much more tactile. We want to be feeling products. We want to be seeing how fresh food and drink is. So how can we kind of blend that online, offline retail challenge to really engage with women more efficiently and effectively? I kind of mentioned it before in terms of communities, but women do seek the approval of other women far more than men do. We are asking opinions. We are happy to say we don't know and we're unsure about what to do. Men are far less likely to do so. So whilst it can work for brands very well, that if you are performing and engaging and being very relevant to certain groups of women, the power of the women that's connected to that group is very big. The same happens if you also are not delivering well and you annoy a woman by something you're saying or something you're not delivering effectively. Storytelling, again, a subject matter that's kind of close to the insight part of these days, but it is really a powerful connection for women. And we need to be telling better insight stories. I think one of the challenges we have as a business is that, or industry, is that we're not necessarily connecting well with clients in terms of how we tell the stories of the women that we're trying to engage, the women that we are researching. We need to be more authentic in terms of how we tell those stories back to clients so they can get the message and the implications that we're telling them about far better. Unstereotyping. Almost every ad you see in the region has got stereotypical ideas of how women behave. It's the women doing the homework, the housework in the house. It's the women helping kids with homework. It's the women cheering kids on at school. It's the women that's delighted to greet her husband when he walks home. We need to really challenge that and have communications that really reflects the new realities of modern lives, that women are just as likely to be in work as men. Women are earning more than men in some instances. Again, women are more likely to shop around for a bargain. It doesn't mean cheap, it means good value. We need to demonstrate value far better for women. And although shopping online has sort of opened up an awful lot of advantages to women, I've talked to women who said, they've been breastfeeding at 2 a.m. and also putting in a supermarket delivery order at the same time. Just because we can shop easier doesn't mean we're any more satisfied with online shopping than men are. And actually, we're far more likely to send something back than men are. So we need to really explore that sort of that online, offline presence. And we are demanding dialogue. We don't want to be sold to. It's very clear when we're being sold to, and women don't like it. We need to be adding different value. We need to be informing and educating women and giving them information, giving them new news. And I kind of move on a little bit that, there are businesses and brands that are really supporting women. And there's a saying here that, every time you spend money, you're casting a vote for the kind of world you want. The world of women has shaped a lot of society in the last few years with sort of the rise of Me Too, etc., and a lot of more sort of female power, women power coming through across markets. So, 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been having those same conversations. We are starting to shape business. So we're looking for transparency. We have got a big concern for the future for our kids. So businesses that are not sustainable are starting to be rejected by women. And we are changing our behaviours as a result of those sort of sustainability concerns. Things like, straw usage, reusable plastic bags or shopping bags. Women are making those changes if we can connect those messages to sort of their future concerns for their kids. And so we still don't trust advertising. And I mentioned before that, the brands that are pink washing, but gender equality within businesses is proven to drive profit and growth, and businesses who support women, and doesn't mean to say you have to have a female CEO, but businesses who are fair in terms of the workplace and promote women and pay women more fairly, they will be more profitable, and that trickles down to being better at engaging consumers. And the rise of things like femcomedy, where women are actively seeking products that are delivering to them specifically, or financial feminism, and Me Too, was really sort of alerted brands to be more cognizant of how they speak and how they engage to women. But still, there's far more disasters than there are sort of heroes in terms of brands that are doing so. But women are basically more forgiving. So 79% of women would try their product or service if it was positive towards women. 80% would solidify brand loyalty if it was fair to women. And, more than half of women would give a company a second chance if a product missed the mark first time, if they supported women at the same time. And businesses who support women are more likely to be engaged than businesses who are clearly doing something to annoy women. And I think that's it. Any questions?